Hi YouTube. I haven't done basically just a talk around where I just give my opinion about stuff for quite a while now, so I thought maybe, for a little change of pace, let's do it this week. How have you been? I've been a little bit on the busy side, moving here and there. Have to do some stuff that honestly is straight out of my comfort zone, and that's good every now and again. Probably what really stuck to me over the past maybe month or so is really that last video about Tales of Demons and Gods and how the overdog posing as underdog trope and how that whole thing really just comes together and makes you feel a little bit strange about the whole thing and how ridiculous it can become. Kind of reminds me about how a lot of other shows treat their medium. But that's besides the point. Other than that, I've also been tinkering around with, in terms of video games, Battleborn, which was an inciting romp into the minds of basically what would happen if Avengers met the equivalent of Firefly cast, and they worked together to stop super aliens from destroying the last known civilization on Earth. And don't worry, these aren't really spoilers so much as the premise of the entire thing from the start. Overwatch, of course, has been devouring my time because it's an amazing title. A lot of people say that, it's quite expensive. You are talking about an expensive game, I will say that. But it's like I akin it to how you would temper a blade and how much effort and polish the slow grinding of how to get it just right. And I think that the 21 something characters that they have a very very special place in how specific the balancing act is and how you can see the little bits of places where improvement can happen and weakness can easily occur. That's all I'm going to say about it. Both are good games. And the third game that I've been toying around with is Evoland 2, which I believe came out over 2 years ago, but I've only gotten the chance to play it now. Evoland is an interesting title. If you've ever heard of Evoland 1, it was basically an adventure inside of an adventure inside a cornucopia of ideas from throughout history. Starts off with the ideas of Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, moves on to adventure titles, to RPGs, a constantly evolving title that showcases the history of video games from start to basically roughly a couple of years ago. That was Evoland 1, and it was more just a thought experiment rather than a real game. It didn't really try its best to be great at any single one thing, but it was pretty nice. Then Evoland 2 comes in, a little bit more expensive. I thought to myself, maybe when it goes on discount, so it did. I ended up grabbing it, trying it out, and let me just say, it's quite good. It's actually much better than I thought it was going to be. And just putting it down to words, Evoland 2 expounded on the idea of Evoland 1 in a very special way. Instead of ironically having all of these different mechanics, it tried to weave a story out of it non-ironically, and that's a very difficult thing to do, and I think they should be praised for that idea. You have the thought that you don't have to be bound to a single kind of genre. You don't have to be a music game. You don't have to be an adventure, a tactical RPG, or any of those things, or none of those things. You can just be your own thing, or you can try to mix it up. That's the thing that really got me about Evoland 2. Whoa, what was that? It wasn't trying to be super amazing or crazy, but it was doing its own thing, doing something amazing, and I think it should be honored for that. It's just the story is not half bad, and every time you try to do something else, the whole game changes along with it, and that's impressive. And each one of them is actually pretty well done, with its own secrets, hidden things, Easter eggs everywhere. Oh my god, there's so many Easter eggs. And I'm having quite a blast. It's quite a fun ride. What really got me, though, is the fact that they tried to intertwine a single mechanic into everything that happens within the game. Your party, everyone gets stronger over time. That's a given. And having that translate to every time they show up in a different kind of game is just a different kind of feeling. It just kind of gets me. That's an interesting way of doing things. Besides those, what have I been up to? Well, read up on the Nerdist and his book about how to be a more effective person, just as being a nerd. And I think he drives home a lot of points and time wasters and stuff like that. Exercising is a big thing, of course. You just have to focus. A nerdist is basically just a regular person who has difficulty focusing on the right things, and that's a nice thought. I think it is quite well put. Other than that, I have a confession to make. Even though I call myself a nerd and all of these strangely eccentric things that I do every now and again, I have never in my life read a Neil Gaiman book, comic book, or short story for that matter. And I think that's a great disservice when you go back to it, because I'm a big fan of his group of friends, Terry Pratchett in particular, of course, and I do enjoy a little bit of George R. Martin, but not too much, because maybe I find it a bit campy, but that's just me. And since I just got my Audible ticket today, I just thought, let's look for some Neil Gaiman stuff. Maybe get a feel for the way he thinks, and maybe I'll understand why he's so acclaimed, why he's such a big deal. To me, he just looks like a really, really, really messy-haired genius, and that always makes me smile. Other than that, not much has happened. You can hear that I'm trying out some strange vocals, making my voice sound like it's coming from a telephone, and I don't know if you like it, don't like it, but it's a thought. If I were to try some of these other ones, maybe you wouldn't be able to understand me. The super high pitch, the super low, the vintage sounds, if you will. And I think those are best left for another time. Other than that, I think that's about it. I hope that you have a great weekend and give it some thought. Was there ever an author that you just had to skip out on because you were reading, or maybe you were competitively saying that some other author was greater? Maybe give them a shot. I'm gonna give them mine. Let's see, and I don't know, compare notes later down the line if it was any good. In any case, this has been Extreme Wirehead. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Bye, YouTube. Peace.